One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in the world of work is very simple. The person in the room who is most comfortable with silence will have an advantage in that room. Potentially, they will be able to control the conversation. In this video, I want to look at how you can deploy the power of silence. The most important skill in deploying the power of silence is to be able to give your total attention to the person who's speaking. Because if you've ever noticed other people listening, they often look as though their attention is elsewhere. Their mind is wandering. They're wondering about what they're going to say in response. They're thinking about the shopping they need to do on the way home from work. Your ability to devote all of your attention to the person who's speaking is a gift to them, and one which they will repay by believing that you have real depth, not just to your listening, but to your thinking as well. Now, what's often going on in people's heads when they're listening but not giving their full attention is that a part of their mind is preparing for what they're going to say next. Have you ever had that experience where perhaps you're in an argument and the other person starts to speak, and in your mind you're thinking, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say, and you're wrong, and I know why you're wrong. And so in your mind, you're constructing this elegant rebuttal. While you're doing that, of course, what you're not doing is listening to what the other person is going to say. If you're not listening to what they're saying, then when they stop speaking and you dive in with what you had prepared, there is a real chance that you're not actually addressing what they said. So you look like a bit of a fool. Now, why is it we feel the need to prepare for our response to a question or our rebuttal to an argument while the other person is speaking? Because it's disrespectful. It indicates a certain shallowness as well. But we do it, I think, because at some point in our early lives we get the message, probably from our education system, that if you don't have the answer right away, then you're not one of the bright kids. But here's my perspective on that. If I ask you a question and immediately I stop speaking, you know the answer, you dive in with the answer straight away. What are you really saying to me? I think what you're really saying to me is, I know the answer to that, I know it straight away, and I know it straight away because it's an easy question. Now, who would ask an easy question? Only an idiot would ask an easy question. Therefore, by answering my question as quickly as you can, what you're really saying to me is, Mike, you're an idiot. If, on the other hand, you listen to my question, because you are listening to me carefully, you don't have time to think about your answer. Therefore, when I stop speaking, you have to pause. Now, what happens when you pause before answering? In my mind, what's happening is that you have to think about the answer. Now, why would you have to think about the answer to my question? Because it's a difficult question. Now, who would ask a difficult question? Someone who's intelligent. By pausing before you answer me, I think what you're saying is, Mike, that was a good question, and you are an intelligent person. So, when anyone is speaking, give them your full attention. If you need to think about your response, whether it's an answer or a rebuttal in an argument or a comment of any sort, then that thinking time is a powerful demonstration, not only that you are a thinker, but that my comment was a clever comment, and therefore I will take that as a compliment. For maximum gravitas, avoid speaking over other people. Because when you're speaking over someone else, you're competing. Who needs to compete? Someone who isn't 100% certain of their dominance. Who doesn't need to compete? Someone who is confident of their position. Wait till the other person stops. Give them your full attention and be patient. At some time, even the most mouthy person will run out of things to say. If slowing your speech down and being completely controlled in how you use your words conveys authority and gravitas, and it does, then the ultimate in slowing down is stopping. And sometimes the most devastating argument you can make is silence. When someone's made their argument, remaining silent has huge power. What can it do? It can leave the other person uncertain of what they've said. They think, oh, maybe you've not understood me. I'll repeat myself. Now, we often think that when we repeat what we say, we lend it extra power, but that's not true. When you repeat what you say, it sounds to me like you're trying to convince me. It also sounds a bit like you're trying to convince yourself. Ironically, repeating yourself undermines the impact of your argument. The other thing that silence can do at the end of something somebody is saying is encourage them to say more. If you're trying to find out something, if you're interviewing someone, for example, you're asking them questions, a great question is silence. Because silence on the end of an answer will leave the other person feeling insecure, and maybe to fill that silence, they will add extra information, and that may be valuable extra information that they weren't originally planning to share. Maybe they thought of something they hadn't thought of, or possibly they're releasing information that they ideally didn't want to share. Remember, the person who is most confident with silence is in control of the conversation. When in doubt, less is more. I said in another video that people with gravitas won't use 50 words when they can use 20. They will be very much in control of saying what they need to say in a concise way. But the other aspect of that is that when they've said what they want to say, they stop. They're comfortable with the silence. They don't repeat themselves. They don't add anything else. They don't babble on about something irrelevant. Be comfortable with the silence that you create. Let other people feel the need to fill the silence. So, become comfortable with silence. Pause before you speak, and when you finish speaking, stop and maintain the silence. Listen in silence and be comfortable with silence before you respond. Remember, the person who is most comfortable with silence will be in control of the conversation. Please give us a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great management courses content to come, so please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of it. I'll see you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.